Welcome to my 2:45 a.m. video where I am hanging on by a string. The thread that is holding me together is that I know I'm gonna have to spend the next week and a half editing the next episode of the podcast, and I'm not gonna have time to film another video because it's so much raw footage that I have to record a video while I already have my light kit out and makeup on. So we're just gonna roll with it. Please excuse the fact that you can hear a little fan over here to the corner. This is from a hospital, from when I was in the hospital in January, and it's quieter than the regular fan I have over here, but it is so hot in this room that I am actually deeply uncomfortable, and my neurodivergent is horribly overstimulated. So I have this tiny fan on that way that I don't go absolutely insane from the heat. I was originally going to make this video a Marvel script tour video, but I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't feel like pulling out my Marvel script because it's almost 3 o'clock in the morning and I do still have to upload all of this footage onto my computer and take off my makeup and clean up this entire room. So I don't really feel like it. If you guys would like a video that's going into depth of all of the details of my Marvel script, then on a night when I have a better understanding of time management, I will pull that out and do that. Just let me know in the comments if you still want a Marvel shift. If I could talk, if you still want a Marvel script tour in detail, then I will do that. Just let me know down here. But for right now, I'm just going to take you through verbally through my Marvel script and my Marvel DR. I've had people ask me in the comments of my videos here and on my TikTok about my Marvel DR before, so I thought that this would be really good to do. Plus, I still technically consider my Marvel DR to be my main DR, which is weird because I haven't tried to shift there in a really long time. When I first got into shifting, I was a Harry Potter shifter. I didn't really get into Marvel really heavily until like the following year, and then I made a really big deal on this channel about having another DR. And a lot has actually changed in my DR since then. Firstly, when I was originally shifting, I was a Loki shifter, and now I'm not. I love Loki. I really, really do. I have like 5 Loki pop dolls in this room. I have a Loki book. I have a Loki phone case. Yes, this is a little arc reactor pop here. I have a hoodie and a t-shirt. I have wax melts. I have a candle. Like, I love, love, love Loki. And honestly, he was originally the main reason that I wanted to shift. I was going to be an Avenger who ended up shifting during the first Avengers movie arc, and I was gonna be like the one that understood him. It was a very like main character, like, you know, almost pick me thing, where I was like, I was the one person that was going to understand him and all of his trauma and convince him not to attack New York. And to a certain degree, I am still doing that. I did change the Battle of New York, so the army does not come and it's like just him, and I do talk him down because I am the main character of my own life, and I highly encourage people to main character their DRs because it's your life, do what you want. I do still do that, but originally it was a lot more main character of a fan fiction in the way that I was presenting it. But originally my goal was to shift for Loki and only Loki. He was my #1 reason to shift. He was the only one I was making Marvel content about on my TikTok. And I was obsessed every single moment of the day reading fan fiction about him, about his actor. Like, I was wearing my Loki t-shirt all the time. Like, I was absolutely ravenous for this man. And in my script, I set up the fact that I am Happy Hogan's adopted daughter. He adopted me when I was way older, like damn near legal. And he met me when I was in an orphanage where I grew up because nobody wanted me because I was a weird kid who had pyrokinesis. No one really knew that's what I had. They just knew that there was something wrong with me, and a lot of weird accidents kept happening around me because I didn't really know how to control it. When these accidents kept happening all the time, I was found by Nick Fury. Nick ended up meeting me and seeing that I was just a kid who didn't know what was going on and decided to leave me where I was. But he would come and check on me so often, I ended up calling him Uncle Nicky. And I just kind of grew up with him being an in and out presence in my life and being monitored by S.H.I.E.L.D. That was a pretty normal experience for me. He was kind of the only permanent thing that I had, so I didn't really complain. And then when I was close to graduating high school, I met Happy, and in my DR, Happy can't have biological kids, and he also never met anybody that he loved enough to settle down with. And he had always wanted to be a dad, but never necessarily pictured himself as married with kids and settling down. And then he met me, and I was a girl who had no family, And it was like it just kind of fit. He felt very protective of me right away, and I felt very safe with him pretty immediately, and he ended up adopting me. When he and Tony, who's obviously been his best friend for years, found out about my powers, they did think it was really weird, but they never once considered turning me in or turning me out into the world, and they still fully accepted me. Tony was not like a father figure to me at all. He didn't even really feel like, oh, it's like my dad's friend. He felt like my friend, honestly, and I liked hanging out with him. He was cool, and it was just like a nice time around him. And so when I graduated high school, he actually offered me a job as one of his personal assistants in Stark Industries, and that kind of transitioned into Pepper taking care of more of the stuff that had to do with Stark Industries, and me dealing with more of his personal stuff to do with his personal appointments and travel and stuff. And it just kind of made the workload on Pepper a lot lighter, so she could deal with the company and I could deal with him, which was almost more difficult than the company. I got kind of tired of living in my dad's dinky little apartment, so I ended up moving in with Tony because he had more than enough room, and honestly it was way easier to just deal with him while living in his house. And it was nice. We got along super well, and we had the same taste in music, and he was funny, and he was like a hot rich guy that I liked hanging out with, who was fun. And I was around for the entire thing when he became Iron Man, and that was messy as, oh my god, it was messy. But I don't know, it just like it felt right to live with him, and all of that is the same in the original version of my DR and what it is now. In the original version of my DR, that was supposed to split off kind of into during the creation of the Avengers. I was supposed to be invited by Nick into the Avengers, and then I was going to kind of like fall in love with Loki, and he was going to fall in love with me, and it was going to be this giant dramatic thing of like the great villain with one of the heroes, and then Tony was going to be really protective because I was his best friend's kid, and it was just going to be this big thing. And the original plan was that it was going to kind of teeter off as being different after the first Avengers movie. Some of the stuff from Thor: The Dark World was still going to happen, and Loki was still going to get imprisoned, but his mother wasn't going to get killed. And eventually, when he got out of prison, his goal was going to be to come back to Earth to find me. And then it was going to be like a secret back and forth, no, we can't do this, but I can't resist you type of affair that was going to be behind all of the Avengers' backs while I was still actively saving the world. And I was really excited about this DR, and I loved it a lot, and I was really, really excited for it. But then the kind of hit the fan when I fell in love with Tony Stark. While I have 5 pop dolls of Loki in this room, I have 10 of Tony. I am twice as obsessive. I have 2 of the exact same keychain of him. I keep a pop doll of Tony Stark in my purse, and that's not a joke. I have a plushie of Iron Man on my bed. I have an Iron Man t-shirt. You saw that I have an arc reactor on the back of my phone. I have an arc reactor necklace. I used to have an Iron Man book. I've since gotten rid of it because it was really bad. I should have known, considering it was $1 at the used bookstore. I have all the Iron Man movies. I have pictures of Tony on my mirror and a picture of him and Peter in my wallet. Needless to say, I'm kind of obsessed. It came out of nowhere, really. I didn't really expect it. I had no real feelings about him other than the fact that I knew he was my favorite Avenger and he was my dad's friend. That was about it. And then it just kind of crept up on me that he really understood my sense of humor, and I felt like we expressed ourselves a lot in the same way, very like Chandler Bing, very I can't take this situation seriously, so I am going to make a huge amount of jokes about it, especially when I'm traumatized, and I'm going to make jokes about my own trauma and at my own expense. Like, it's a very, very Tony thing that I do, and I really felt like he understood me, and I felt very seen, and suddenly found him like super attractive, and I couldn't stop thinking about him all the time, and I just loved the guy. And before anyone asks, no, absolutely nothing creepy, attracting, or flirtationing happened when he first met me, because I was in high school. He is not a creep. He is not a weirdo. He would never hurt me, and he did not hurt me. And I was not interested in him when I was that young either, and when I first moved in with him, it was not like that. I have lived with him for several years, and nothing ever happened, and still nothing at this point in my DR has happened. Now, when I entered my mid-20s and I was older, more mature, my frontal lobe had fully formed, and at that point he saw me more than he saw Happy. He and I became flirtatious. But at that point, I had been an adult for a very, very long time. Our relationship was not that of a mentor and a mentee, or really even like a boss and his employee. It was very much, we were best friends. We are best friends. And he's almost closer to me than he is Happy at this point. So the fact that he met me when I was younger really plays no role in our relationship and in our life, and we don't really think about it. We just kind of are. And I feel very comfortable with that. And I feel like that's really all that matters. Nothing inappropriate happened. I've had really bad situations of that kind happen to me here in my CR. I'm always extremely aware of that trauma here, and I would never do anything in my DR to trigger that trauma or that would hurt me or hurt other people. So before anyone says anything, because I have had people say stuff to me before, nothing happened. The flirting did not start until I was already in my mid-20s, well into my adulthood. I just want to get that fully out of the way. But things became really flirty and fun. It was easy because we were always together, and it just kind of changed everything, and suddenly my script changed around me. And while I did keep in the fact that I do talk Loki down from attacking New York and all that, I don't really see myself with him. I see there being a flirtation and a connection and understanding between us, but Tony's where it's at for me. Tony he's just it. He understands me. So the DR kind of like changed, and it became like a friends to lovers / boss and employee / age gap / dad's best friend trope. I love how many tropes there is, honestly, to us as a relationship. So while we do still get brought into the Avengers together, he's twice as protective and upset now as he was in the original run of my script, because he has feelings for me now. And he really tries to fight the fact that I've been brought in. He does not like the fact that I've been brought in. He screams fury about it. But at the end of the day, I'm an adult and I make my own decisions and I can do what I want. And when all of that happens, he does not love the fact that I'm the one who talks Loki down. There's a lot of jealousy going on. And then everything is kind of left loose and open after that. That way that our relationship can kind of develop from there, because I did really want it to have this really great vibe of, there's so many tropes to it that are forbidden and so many reasons that we're not supposed to be together. I really, really wanted it to be imbued with these vibes of, it's forbidden, we're not supposed to. Dad would be angry, the Avengers would be confused, like the tabloids would run wild. Like, I really wanted it to be all these reasons that we shouldn't, but we can't help it. Like, I really want the forbidden back and forth. I am currently trying to fit Carly into my DR. I don't know how, but knowing her, she might end up with a parallel DR. She just has to catch up on all the movies because she is super, super behind. I think she's only seen Iron Man and that's it. But I really want her to catch up so that I can find a way to put her into my DR. Maybe it'll be like down the line. I don't know yet. But anything can happen, considering I don't come into her Peaky Blinders DR until months later. And those DRs are still parallel for us, so. My other friends pretty much consist of Pepper, Rhodey. I don't really have a lot of friends because with me having powers, it's kind of tricky to have friends around. And plus I spend so much time around this like famous guy that like people have tried to befriend me just to get close to him and our money. So I tend to keep people at arm's length. And honestly, he's my best friend, so I just like hanging out with him all the time. But once we join the Avengers, it really feels like we kind of mold into a family. and I end up really close friends with all the Avengers, but like I'm especially close with Natasha and Bruce and Thor. Thor ends up taking a liking to me because I somehow managed to calm down his brother during the entire New York debacle, and Natasha becomes like an older sister, and then because Bruce and Tony are the science bros and they're pretty much best friends, I end up close friends with him as well. Love hanging out with them, especially since I really, really want Bruce and Natasha to get together in my DR. And so I am 100% going to be that person that's like shoving them towards each other and then not allowing what happened in the movies to happen. They are going to both stay alive and be together. So things really do get easier once we have the Avengers, because then we have more friends, we have a team, we feel like we have better purpose in our lives. Eventually, and I don't know how I feel about this yet, if the Age of Ultron plotline does still happen in my DR, then I will be friends with Wanda and Pietro, and I will make sure that Pietro stays alive. I don't know if I want the whole Avengers compound thing to happen. I know that there's like a huge thing in the shifting community and in the fanfiction community where like all of the Avengers live together in the compound, and I don't know if I want that to happen or not. I really love mine and Tony's house, and I really love having our privacy and getting to be alone, just the two of us. Plus we live on a beach. I love living by the ocean, and plus I don't love the idea of moving everything and changing everything, especially if like Happy doesn't want to come with us. And I don't know how I feel about living in a compound full of people. There's something about living in a compound versus a house that feels really intimidating to me. I know for sure I am going to script out a lot of stuff that happened. I am going to be scripting out all the Thanos stuff. The snap is not going to happen. All the really bad stuff that happened in Infinity War and Endgame is not going to happen. There are also certain people that I'm going to have to script that I never meet in my MCU DR because they look like people that I shift for in my other DRs. I'm going to have to make sure that for no reason at all do I meet Natasha's dad, Alexei Shostakov, because he's played by David Harbour, and David Harbour plays Hopper in Stranger Things, who is my partner in my Stranger Things DR. And I'm going to have to make sure that I never ever meet Agatha, because I have a DR that's like a non-magic / no Marvel MCU DR, basically, that is all of the people from Agatha All Along, but in a no magic world in Salem. And Agatha is my partner, and I really don't want to have to deal with meeting her in another universe, so that needs to not happen. So I'm gonna have to make sure that those absolutely don't happen. I don't quite know all of what's gonna happen yet. I kind of like leaving a lot of mystery to myself because, you know, it is my real life and I do like to be surprised. So I don't know what all is gonna happen yet. I did have my first 3 mini shifts. No, my first 2 mini shifts were to that DR. I was trying to shift to my MCU DR when I opened my eyes, but it was in an alternate version of this reality. And then my 4th mini shift was to my Agatha All Along DR. I did not make a video about my 4th mini shift. I feel like the first 3, it was very exciting. Like the first one was, of course, the first one. The second one was a year later when I didn't think it would happen again. And then the 3rd one was the first time I actually saw anything. I don't think I'm going to make videos about my mini shifts from now on anymore, especially since they're happening more often. And I feel like it would become really redundant for me to describe similar experiences to this channel repeatedly. I do, however, talk about my mini shifts on TikTok whenever they happen, so you should follow me there while we still have the app. I don't know what's going on with that anymore. I will, however, recount mini shifting experiences on the podcast. We do a little bit in every podcast where we talk about any shifting progress that we've had in between episodes, because there's 2 weeks between filming. And I haven't really tried to shift since my last mini shift. Every time that I mini shift, I go into a little bit of like a mini shift slump where for however many weeks or months or whatever it is, I don't really try to shift. So I'm kind of just focusing on building up other scripts for the time being until the urge to actually try to shift happens to me. But my first 2 mini shifts were to my MCU DR. I saw light out of the corner of my eye from my balcony, and I heard Tony rummaging around in the kitchen. I heard him walking outside my door. I felt him leaning against my bed. I heard him talking next to me. I heard him on the phone outside of my room. So that's a DR that's always going to be really close to my heart. I still consider it my main DR, even though like Hogwarts was my first one. I don't try to shift to Hogwarts as much as I used to. And I have had several DRs along the way. I do have my Peaky Blinders DR, Stranger Things, my Salem DR, my private DR that I have with Carly. I have a Fame DR. I have Disney DR, and I have some lesser DRs I don't talk about a lot online, like my Lord of the Rings DR, Hobbit DR, Doctor Who DR. I have a hotel DR that I got the concept from Corey. If you guys want to hear the details of my hotel DR, let me know. I know that I've made a TikTok about it, but I haven't really made like a big video concept on it. But let me know and I'll do that. But I keep looking away because I'm so tired that looking at the light is hurting me. So I'm really sorry that I keep looking off. I also have the habit of like looking over here because my computer's over there. And when I was on the podcast earlier, I kept just looking over here. So I'm incredibly sorry that I just keep looking away and that it's probably super unprofessional, but I am very tired because I've been filming this for about 26 minutes at this point, and it was nearly 3 o'clock when I started, so God knows what time it is now. But yeah, I love my Marvel DR. It really feels like home. It's the one that I've like actually like been in the most, and it's the one that I can really picture my room the easiest. On nights when I want to shift but I don't know where, I'm like, oh well, I'll just default to my Marvel DR. Anytime I've ever had a lucid dream and then I was like, oh, I might as well try to shift while I'm lucid dreaming, I'm like, okay, I might as well aim for my MCU DR. Like, it's the one that I know the best, the one that feels the closest to home. Being around Tony and Happy and Rhodey and Pepper feels like home. Being in that house on the beach feels like home. The idea of going and seeing Nick and Thor and Nat and Bruce, like that all feels like home. And it feels like home in a very different way than my Hogwarts DR, because my Hogwarts DR feels like home because it's the first one that I started and because Harry Potter's been in my life my whole life. But MCU feels very different because I feel like I connected to that one in a very different way. And I feel like it was my main DR even for longer than my Hogwarts DR was, because I kind of forced myself to detach from my Harry Potter DR, because there was a rumor in early shift talk where it was like, you have to take it off the pedestal, you can't be attached to it all the time, you have to act like you don't care about it, play hard to get with it. And then I did, and it kind of killed it for me. But yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else I could tell you about my DR. Like I said, I live with Tony, I have pyrokinesis. I look pretty similar to how I do in this reality. The only difference is instead of the 2 chest tattoos that I have one big chest piece here. And my hair is green. Like back when I used to have green hair that you see in videos on this channel, it's like that. I think my ears are stretched up to a size bigger in my DR, and I also have piercings around both sides of my ears all the way down, and like 2nd and 3rd holes, I'm pretty sure. Let's see, working for Tony is the only job I've ever had, and I've had it ever since I left high school, so I've been working there for a really long time. Some little things that I know for sure I scripted into the DR include the fact that I can lift Thor's hammer, just because I wanted to be obnoxious. I scripted in a bunch of snacks that I love for my CR that got discontinued. I scripted in that the ending of one of my favorite books is different because I hated the ending. I'm Tony's date to every single premiere, party, and launch of anything that he ever goes to. Unlike in the first Iron Man movie, when Tony's arc reactor is put into a box and given to him by Pepper, I'm the one that gave it to him, not Pepper. My favorite things to do with Tony are to watch bad movies while we eat cheeseburgers, play video games together, and I love driving in his convertible with the top down while I force him to listen to Disney music that I sing at the top of my lungs. But my favorite is to sing Poor Unfortunate Souls from The Little Mermaid, because he gets so annoyed when I start wiggling around during the body language line. Happy's gonna teach me to drive. The part of the beach that Tony's house is on, he owns that part of the beach, so no one's allowed to use it but us. And he also owns the air rights around the entire area, that way that paparazzi are not allowed to fly around there and take pictures or videos of the house. I don't really know what to say. Other than that, I love the DR. I do miss it. I need to try to shift there again soon. I just love it. I just do. Feels nice, feels comfortable, feels really easy to slip back into. And I honestly kind of really need to rewatch all the Marvel movies, that way that I can get back into it, because I haven't tried to shift there since December, and it's currently May. I think that's all I have for you guys today in this video. Like I said, if you want me to go through the specific details in my script, just let me know and I'll make a separate video all about the script. Maybe it'll help give you things that you should specifically script into your Marvel DR if you have one. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please press the subscribe button and join the family. It would mean a lot to me. You can look out for the next time that I upload. I'm actually really proud of myself for how often I've been uploading. There is an email in the description that you can contact me at if you want a reality shifting reading, where either I can give you a reading that is a channeled reading from someone in your DR, or you can get a reading that is from your spirit team / spirit guides to get advice on blockages or what you need to do to shift, or very similar advice from your higher self who has already shifted. All of my readings are $10 US a piece, and I take payment through Venmo and PayPal. Please check out the Batshit Crazy podcast that is also linked below. We are uploading every other Saturday as of right now. By the time this is uploaded, we should have just uploaded episode 4. And I am so excited for you guys to see episode 5 that we will be filming in 2 weeks, which is so fun and so exciting and so special. I know, even though we haven't done it yet, because we got surprises coming. Check out my other social media in the description as well. Follow me everywhere. Most of my shifting content takes place on TikTok, but I also do post shifting content on Tumblr and Blue Sky. Leave questions for me in the comments below. I'm trying to rack up questions for a Q&A that's based on shifting. So if you have any questions about shifting or any of my DRs or my shifting journey or the shifting content that I make, please leave that down there and your question will be considered for my next shifting Q&A. The first part was posted a couple of months ago, but I'm really hoping to make another one since I really liked making it. If you have any other ideas for shifting content that you would like me to make for this channel, also leave that in the comments as well, and I'll take that into consideration and maybe make a video about your idea. I'm gonna go ahead and go because it's probably like 3:30 in the morning by now, and I still have to make some TikToks and wipe this makeup off and clean this room, and I'm not excited about it. I spent forever on this makeup. Ugh. I put green highlighter on my lips, but my lipstick's leaving me, so it just kind of looks like it's peeling away. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I hope that you had a good time. I hope you liked this video, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye.